Okay, so this is Biology Form 4, Chapter 11. Another subtopic 11.3, Types of Immunity. So before this, we have learned about the first, second, and third line of defense and also the actions of antibody. So today we are learning the types of immunity. Okay, we have two types of immunity, active immunity and passive immunity. Okay, so make sure you know what is immunity. Immunity is the ability of our body to fight an infection. Okay, so we have active immunity and passive immunity. Okay, active immunity means the lymphocyte produce their own antibodies as a response to stimulation by the antigen. And passive immunity means the body receive antibodies from external source. So itu yang kamu kena ingat. Active immunity, badan kita sendiri yang menghasilkan antibody. Passive immunity adalah we receive antibody from external source. Okay? Active immunity terbahagi lagi kepada dua, iaitu natural active immunity dengan artificial active immunity. Begitu juga dengan passive immunity, bahagi kepada dua, iaitu natural passive immunity dengan artificial passive immunity. So what is natural active immunity? Okay, natural active immunity acquired after an individual recover from an infection. Okay, and artificial active immunity acquired diperoleh apabila individual is given a vaccine. Okay, passive immunity, natural passive immunity acquired through breastfeeding and from the mother to the fetus during pregnancy, while artificial passive immunity acquired through antiserum injection. Okay, so kena ingat beza antara active dengan passive immunity. Okay, active immunity, antibodies are produced naturally by our own lymphocytes. Okay, active immunity remains for a long period of time. So active immunity divided into natural active immunity and artificial active immunity. So for natural active immunity, when someone is infected by pathogens, lymphocytes will produce antibodies as a response to these antigens. When an individual recovers from an infection, that individual will gain a permanent immunity against the disease. When the individual is attacked again by the same pathogen, the lymphocytes that store memories of the pathogen, that is the memory cells, will rapidly produce antibodies to react immediately against the antigen. So ini adalah natural active immunity. Kita diserang ataupun infected by pathogen. Okay, so kita punya lymphocyte produce antibody. Okay, kita sendiri yang produce antibody apabila kita infected by pathogen. Okay, so kita akan immune terhadap disease tersebut. Okay, so bila second time we are attacked again by the same pathogen, itu yang gunanya memory cell tadi. Okay, the memory cell dia akan rapidly produce antibodies untuk against the antigen. Okay, seterusnya ini artificial active immunity pula. To protect oneself from being infected by a highly infectious disease, an individual can be immunized against the disease. Immunization refers to the process that stimulates immunity against a specific disease through vaccine injection. So di sini melibatkan injections of vaccine. So what is vaccine? Vaccine is a suspension of pathogens that are weakened, dead, or non-virulent. Okay, when a vaccine is injected into the body, vaccine stimulate our lymphocyte to produce antibody to fight the pathogen. So the first vaccine injection usually result in a low level of antibody. Okay, maksudnya the produced antibody, the productions of antibody is insufficient. Okay, so we need the second dose of vaccine injection. Maksudnya itu adalah booster lah. Okay, booster dose to increase the antibody production to a level of immunity. Okay, make sure that our immunity is above the level of immunity level lah. Okay, so if the individual is infected by actual pathogen, okay, actual pathogen, kali ini bukan vaksin lagi actual pathogen, infected by actual pathogen, now the lymphocyte will produce enough antibodies and immediately destroy the pathogen. So di sini, beza dia di sini adalah our body produce our own antibody. Here also our body produce our own antibody. Tetapi di sini adalah naturally, iaitu selepas kita sembuh daripada serangan sesuatu patogen itu. Okay? Yang di sini kita perlu immunize, iaitu dengan injections of vaccine. Itu beza dia. Faham tak? Sebab itu di sini natural, di sini artificial. Okay? So examples of vaccine, kita ada BCG vaccine, TB vaccine, HPV vaccine, dan sekarang juga kita ada COVID-19 vaccine kan? Vaksin untuk COVID-19 disease. Okay, yang sekarang sedang dilaksanakan. Okay, how about passive immunity? The body does not produce its own antibodies. Antibodies are obtained from external source. Passive immunity does not persist and can only give immediate, short-term and temporary protection. So yang ini, badan kita tidak hasilkan kita punya antibody sendiri. We are given the antibodies from the external source. Okay, sebab itu passive immunity. Dan of course, the protection is only temporary. Okay, dia tidak macam active immunity. Last long, but this one is temporary only. Okay, so divided into natural passive immunity dengan artificial passive immunity juga. Natural passive immunity, example, acquired by a fetus when the mother's antibodies diffuse through the placenta into the blood group of the fetus. Okay. Antibodies also protect the baby for the first few months after birth through antibodies that are found in mother's milk or colostrum when breastfeeding. So yang ini, we obtain the antibodies from external source tetapi masih natural. Okay, contoh breastfeeding. Okay, contoh lagi through the placenta. Okay, so itu natural walaupun dia gain the antibody daripada external source. Bukan dia sendiri yang produce antibody tetapi masih natural. Yang ini, artificial passive immunity. This immunity is acquired through an anti-serum injection or serum that contains specific antibodies to fight specific antigens. So di sini adalah dia inject antibody lah. Okay, kita panggil dia anti-serum. What is anti-serum? This is the blood serum. Okay, our blood serum containing the antibody specific for certain pathogen atau antigen. Okay, so the anti-serum injection gives immediate protection but only for a short period of time. Examples of anti-serum are anti-tetanus, anti-rabies, and anti-serum for poisonous snakes. Okay, for example here, anti-tetanus preparation. Okay, ini adalah anti-tetanus preparation. The tetanus toxoid suspension injected in a horse, and then the anti-tetanus from the horse serum, is concentrated and purified, and then injected into individual with a high risk of tetanus. So now, after injected, the individual is protected from tetanus infection. Okay, tahu kan tetanus? Selalunya bila kita baru sahaja digigit anjing ataupun nail injury, terpijak paku, selalunya kita akan diberi ini kan, tetanus. Inilah maksudnya, anti-tetanus preparation. Okay, so what is tetanus? Tetanus is an infection caused by bacteria called Clostridium tetani. Okay, when the bacteria invade our body, the bacteria will produce a poison or toxin that causes painful muscle contraction. So another name for the tetanus is lockjaw. Okay, kenapa lockjaw? Ya, selalunya dia causes person neck and jaw muscles to lock, making it hard to open the mouth or swallow. Okay, so itu adalah tetanus. Okay. So this one, table 11.1 is a comparison between artificial active immunity and artificial passive immunity. So comparison kena ada similarities and differences. The similarities protect the body from infectious diseases and also involve the interaction between antibodies and antigen. The differences aspect acquired through, diperoleh daripada apa? For artificial active immunity, melalui vaccine injection. Artificial passive immunity, anti-serum injection. Ingat beza di antara vaksin dengan anti-serum. Injected substance. Okay, this one is vaccine. This is pathogens that are weakened, dead pathogens or non-virulent pathogens. Okay, and then anti-serum is the serum that contains specific antibodies against specific antigen. The purpose is for prevention of the disease. This one is for treatment. Okay, treatment or when immediate protection is required. Effect here does not give immediate protection. Ya, kalau kita kena vaksin, kita tidak terus dapat itu immediate protection. Sebab dia mengambil masa untuk badan kita menghasilkan antibody. For artificial passive immunity, because the injected substance is anti-serum, okay, the antibody itself, so it will give immediate protection. Okay, immunity period, di sini immunity dia last for a long period of time. Okay, sebab badan kita yang akan sendiri menghasilkan antibody tersebut. This one, immunity is temporary. Okay, sementara sahaja. Okay, aspect when injection is given. Okay, when injection is given, last one, vaccine injection is administered before being infected. Okay, sebab dia adalah prevention, so of course dia akan kena inject vaksin tersebut sebelum infected by the disease lah, kan? For antibody di sini, artificial passive immunity, antibody injection is given in advance if there is a high risk of infection or immediately after being infected by a disease. Okay, sama ada in advance sebelum dia terkena infection tersebut ataupun selepas dia infected by the disease. Immediately lah, immediately. Okay, antibody are produced by the lymphocyte. Maksudnya sendiri, badan sendiri yang menghasilkan antibody. Di sini, antibodies itu tidak dihasilkan oleh lymphocyte sendiri, tetapi obtained from external source, iaitu from the antiserum. Okay, the need to give a second injection booster dose. So di sini, for the vaccine, it must be given to boost the level of antibodies above the level of immunity as a protection against the disease. So kalau kita tengok figure di sini, for the first injection, the antibody level, dia belum lagi reach the level of immunity. Okay, that's why we need the second injection, yang booster dose di sini. So supaya the immunity level, dia reach the level of immunity. Okay, the immunity level here refer to the concentrations of antibodies that is sufficient to fight the certain disease. Okay, how about this one for the antibody? Okay, first injection here, we have first injection. It is only given when the antibody level in the blood drop below the level of immunity. Okay, and then the patient is still infected by the disease. Okay, when the patient is still infected by the disease and the antibody level in the blood drop below the level of immunity, the patient still need the second injection. Okay, second injection. So itu beza di antara ni the vaccine dengan antiserum. Okay, 11.4, health issues related to human immunity. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. So AIDS itu disebabkan oleh virus HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. This is a virus that attack the human immune system. Okay, so HIV virus causes AIDS. Okay, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. Okay, an AIDS patient is easily infected by other diseases because of the progressive destructions of the individual immune system. Okay, HIV spread in the lymphocyte and destroy the lymphocyte. Di sini kita tahu bahawa the HIV virus dia destruct kita punya immune system. Okay, an individual infected with HIV does not show any symptom for the first few years, although HIV has been actively attacking the immune system. Okay, dia bukan terus-terus bila dia ada HIV ya, bukan terus-terus bagi simptom ah. Symptom dia including chronic diarrhea and fungi infection, which are only visible after 8 to 10 years. So sangat panjang lama masa dia to show the symptom Since the immune system of the individual is already weakened, the body can be easily infected by diseases. Okay, and finally the immune system is paralyzed and the patient will die from other infection. So ingat HIV di sini dia punya keyword di sini adalah HIV, dia attack kita punya immune system. So bila immune system kita sudah weak, kita sudah drop, apa sahaja kita boleh senang infected by other diseases. HIV transmission through body fluids such as blood, semen or across the placenta. So kalau across the placenta, women infected with HIV can transfer the virus to the baby during pregnancy, birth or breastfeeding. Okay, so this is lymphocyte, our lymphocyte, this is the HIV. Okay, HIV infection in fetus and newborn baby, can be avoided by proper medical treatment when the mother is pregnant and during birth. Individual can be infected by HIV through unprotected sexual relations with an infected individual, and also by sharing contaminated needles, okay, like drugs, okay, inject drugs, the tattooing, and also through blood transfusion. Okay, blood transfusion. So that's all for immunity in humans, we have learned about body defense. We have the first line, second line, and third lines of defense. Actions of antibody, okay, neutralization, agglutination, precipitation, opsonization, and lysis. And we have types of immunity, active and passive immunity. Okay, remember the difference between active and passive. And also AIDS, okay, health issues related to human immunity. That's all. Thank you.